Good. Good morning, guys. If you can call it that. Tough day today. Didn't expect to come on stream, but I see people are panicking, so we're going to talk about it. Getting a lot of criticism, a lot of comments. Going to address these because I'm not going to let people that have been trading for a month or two try to discuss how we do things in here. So we're going to talk about this. You guys have concerns, be sure to share them. I'll do my best to answer them, but in a logical way, in a civilized manner, of course. Pop up the stream here. It's looking pretty nasty. So we'll talk about it. We're going to talk about it because the range is a range until it finally breaks down. Today's the day where we see a very, very decisive action, and we are literally hanging by a thread here. So I'm going to pop this open right now. We're in this one together. All right. So guys, we are what I like to call out of the range low. In my eyes, this is a range breakdown. I don't know how you can't look at it that way. I mean, we had a response from 60,500. We rejected it. We're way below the 200 EMA now on the daily, which is the first touch since October of 2023. So if we're going to expect any sort of deviation here, it has to come from here. It has to come by the end of the day. This day is significant. It's important. It's a day where we don't have our usual volumes. It's a day where New York session is closed. So naturally, a large entity is shoving. It's almost like this entity that is shoving has no intention to make the maximum amount of profit that they can extract, but rather just to offload whatever they do have. And I, coincidentally, at a very, very decisive fighting point, right? So this is a range breakdown, and naturally, alts are suffering 10 times more than BDC. By now, I hope you guys understand that if BDC is weak, your alts are weak as well. I need people to understand this. I sound like a broken record, but you guys know how I allocate and how I risk. And if you guys are gonna come crying to me about alts, please know that I don't share that same experience with you. Any alts that I do are properly allocated. I never throw I never throw stacks that I can't afford to lose. So if this is your mentality, unfortunately, you're not going to resonate with me. So it's better you just close the stream. I'm not a moon boy. I'm not a gambler. I'm a sophisticated trader. I don't believe in throwing my whole portfolio on assets and stuff that do not resonate with my trading strategy. But again, if you've been in this stream before, you know exactly how I think. I don't need to repeat this to you, but probably have some first time members in here. So a bit of a rude awakening for you guys. But let's see what the comments are saying. Let's see what you guys are saying. What's on your mind? What's worrying you? Let's hear it. Are people fucked? Is it because you're part of the German government selling off? Look, this German entity that is coming on and blasting market sales at the range lows. These are things that in a moment you can't necessarily identify, but now that we have identified it, I mean, we observe and witness. Are they going to continue to shove here because they have the momentum? It's just they're shoving into an area where you would expect a really strong response. So let's see. It's taking a lot to bring us down here, right? Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, right? Everybody wants to just hold a bag into the sunset, but nobody wants to suffer the drawdown. It's a mentality I'll never understand. 3 to 4x up, no problem. 20-30% down, end of the world. Yeah, that's it. Hugo. It's again, I'll just bust out the fractals because we're dealing with something so similar and something we've dealt with so many times in this entire past, I want to say 16 to 20 months. Feels more and more like we're right here. But then again, could this be the first 30% drawdown on BDC? Who knows? I think we're finally here. I think we finally get our 30% drawdown. I mean, we're not back in the range, so now we need to assume that the range breakdown is real. It looks juicy. The 53 to 50 area looks juicy. At long last, do we finally get it? Bags are down, but nothing I can't hold. This is the stuff I expect to see and hear, right? As traders, this should be the stuff I expect to hear and see. Not my life is ruined because I took one call and I'm out. Like we can't save you. We can't save you if this is your mentality. Please understand. Like we cannot save people that think like this. What would I want to see for the first sign of strength? First and foremost, deviating back above the 200 EMA by the end of the day. If you can just kind of like whatever, get your cascade out of here, get your liquidation flush out of here, and close back above this 200 EMA, then I want to assume that that's done. This is what I would assume. If I'm looking at a daily chart right now, the two immediate factors in front of me are 60,500, which is the reclaiming of the range low, and this 200 EMA, which once again, we have not seen a direct touch since October of 2023. This is closer towards a year now. So again, if we just expect someone to fall right through, that would be a significant sign of weakness. I don't think so. I don't think so. We're very early in the day. The first sign of strength for me would be first and foremost to reclaim this very important indicator because it's where mean and bulk of our bids are. So to be trading below this is kind of problematic for me. I'll be very honest with you. What's up, barbecue? 58 250. I would say around 58 500. I think it's going to be a lot more decisive. But again, like this is not a knife catch territory. You guys should know by now. I admit defeat. You know, we consolidated right underneath 60,500. That was enough problematic signs for me. I had mentioned it yesterday. And then all we needed was some entity like Germany to sell an overwhelming amount of BDC during a day where volatility is kind of dead, and this is the result we get. It's a forced shove. Make no mistake, it's a forced shove. It's irresponsible in the sense that if you were a real trader and you saw this as your only opportunity to offload whatever BDC you had, it would be seen as wasted opportunity, pretty much. Like that. That's how I see it. So when we have a literal nation just offloading whatever they have at market price, it's you got to weather the storm here. What can be sold once cannot be sold again, and that should be your mentality. Now again, everybody's gonna like I speak about Bitcoin solely, right? Like let me remind you guys why this is such a comfortable situation for me is I speak about Bitcoin solely, right? Yes, I have some interest in some other bags, but again, small allocations. These things can go to zero tomorrow and it wouldn't hurt me. It would not hurt me because I've allocated an amount I think is comfortable. Now, if you want to take that and go, hey, let me take 100% of my portfolio and throw it on this allocation, there's nothing anybody can really do for you. You're impatient, you're greedy, you're selfish, and I can't teach that. It's a character thing. If your character is about being in a rush, being impatient, and throwing risks, throwing houses on speculations. There's nobody in this group that will say the right things to you. 90% in OXO, like when has anybody ever suggested this sort of mentality going into trading? Like Hugo, like, and we're not here to lynch people and to make them feel bad. It's just like where in any of our posts do we teach people to act like this? It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. It's because the thing we repeat the most is not how optimistic the market looks, but rather how important it is to keep your expectations in line with what you can afford to suffer. Right? It's something I think I cover a lot in my streams. It's something I think me and Pocky discuss every day, every stream that we have. It's something that we talk about all the time. So it's like really frustrating when we finally get like the first significant drawdown. Like, and I'm saying like literally like the first significant drawdown since the original lows made a couple months ago, and it's like everybody's back in the same position. It's like more invested than before. Bad habits die hard, absolutely. And if you guys think I'm a saint and never made my mistakes in the past, I'm here to tell you that I learned the hard way just as much as everybody else. It's just I learned the hard way 6 years ago. You know, I learned the hard way 6 years ago, and it's carried me through. So if you guys are feeling bad and down today, just know that it gets better. But you gotta learn from your mistakes, right? I hope this understands. It's just we're For the past 3 months, we've played a range. And again, I speak solely for BDC. We've played a range. I've had people asking me, why didn't we open shorts over here? Why didn't we open shorts over here? Well, the reality is we have a macro bullish outlook. And that would contradict what we're looking at. The worst, and I think the best thing that we ever did was when we're at the range high, we treat it like a range high, and we remove any excessive risk at the range high. We take a haircut if we actually do consolidate above the range, and then we just relong. Like this has always been how we play ranges. It's always been. No, we're not going to net short BDC. We're not going to net short it because in the event that we're wrong, it just costs so much in collateral. So instead, we look to close off whatever overwhelming risk we have because we're in a range. And now we have people asking me, why aren't we shorting the range low? Because it's the range low. No. The problem is it's very problematic. It's very problematic to be net short here because we have a macro narrative that does not support this. It does not. And a 25% drawdown does not change this. I hope everybody understands this. Please remember this. This is not a 30% drop. Not even close yet. We're not even in the 30% drawdown territory. I have people screaming at me that the world is over. It is a range breakdown. As it stands, it's currently a range breakdown. Yeah, as it stands. If you're to lose this last wick right here, technically we have no more lows. But again, you need to lose this last wick. You lose this last wick, I'm ready to admit that 50 to 53 comes. And I'm prepared for it. I'm prepared for it. We've been prepared for months. Doesn't mean I'm going to net short. No. No. Doesn't mean you delever at a range high for sure. If you have any borrowed capital and you're looking to, capitalize on some profits, the range high is the best place to do it. Because in the event that you're wrong, you take a small haircut, you look for the consolidation, then you're back long again. Do you think it's possible of a swing failure of that last week's lows? I think the most possible thing that you can happen if you're optimistic, if you're expecting this range breakdown to be a nothing burger, I think this is the deviation area. This has got to be the area you expect a response. If not, it's most likely you're expecting a complete torpedo into this 50 to 53K area of demand. That's what I would assume. If this level will not hold up and deviate by the end of the day, 50 to 53 seems most likely on the board. Does it mean we get it? Absolutely not. But I'm prepared for it. So I think something like May 1st can happen. Which May 1st are we referring to? This right here? Yeah, this is exactly the area I'm looking at, and it's exactly the area we're trading at. So if there's a response, it's going to happen right here. We are stalling here because it is the last line in the sand. Unfortunately, we do not have New York volatility on our side, and we have a fucking large ass entity offloading thousands of BDC, right? So it feels like a forced drawdown, unfortunately. So I think no, I don't think it's Mount Gox. I think it's more just Germany selling whatever assets they managed to acquire. But our real zone is the 30% drawdown, which is something we've been waiting for fucking. How long's it been since the last 30% drawdown now? This was the last one, I'm pretty sure. Oh boy, it's been too long. It's actually been so long. The last 30% drawdown was suffered in December of 2022. Ideally, the peak or bottom of this cycle. Where do I see BDC going this run? Again, I don't like to throw numbers out. I don't like to throw numbers out. It's more the importance of the area between 70 to 100K, which is going to be the biggest battle, I think, in its history. 70 to 100K. I think we've discussed this many times in our streams that it will be no easy feat. But once 70 to 100K is taken out, 100K to 200K becomes a joke. Like it becomes an absolute joke of a teleportation. When we look at the books and we look at the liquidity up there, it's an absolute joke. But 70 to 100K is extremely stacked. 100% stacked. And a number of times on the stream, we mentioned 70 to 100K is going to be the most brutal battle, probably in its history. Yeah. So I would assume 70 to 100 is going to be the biggest, most longly fought for area we've ever experienced in price discovery. I saw that crypto AI. Justin Sun is willing to match whatever is being sold here. Like again, guys, try to see, like, try to ignore this. Right? I'm going to remove the watch list and just try to see the bigger picture here. We have a large entity selling an unprecedented amount of BDC. Where they got it from, I'm not exactly sure. But rest assured, you have two entities. We're talking about two sole entities. A guy like Justin Sun and a guy like Michael Saylor willing to buy it all. Just tell yourself that. Seized from video piracy. Interesting. So they're selling something they never earned. You get what I'm trying to say? Like what could be sold once cannot be sold again. Justin Sun understands this. Michael Saylor understands this, which is why they buy up as much as they can, regardless of price, because it's not really a price thing. But hey, don't let me get you sucked into this. You know, um, again, to teach someone, what they're buying and to teach them what they're being forced to understand is it's very hard to do that when prices are 7, 8, 10% down. But if you guys are gonna be here and act like this has never happened before, newsflash for you guys, it's happened so many times before. You guys are just privileged and soft. And I'm saying that when I mean that realistically because this has been the easiest, and I do mean this sincerely in all my time, and I'll draw the marker for those who don't know who I am. This circle right here, I keep it there because it's the moment I started. When I say it's never been this easy, please take my word for it. You've never had it this easy. You've never had it this easy. You see all these big ass pitfalls? You guys would never survive. You guys would never survive with the mentality. And I don't speak for everybody in here. I know there's been people for a few years in here, but the ones that have been here for a month or two that don't know what's going on. If you guys think this is the worst thing to happen, you've not seen shit. You know, stay in school. You've not seen shit. And that's just my word of advice to you. A 30% drawdown in crypto has been arguably the most normal thing in our entire market. It's only recently. It's only recently. I want to say in the past year and a half where we have not seen this. 2 years now, almost. We're approaching 2 years since Bitcoin has suffered a single 30% drawdown, and the tears I have to deal with are unbelievable. This is indicative to me that the longer we stayed doing nothing, the more desperate and the bigger your positions became, which is just something I don't think anybody teaches. I am new. Can you tell me and people like me how to prepare for this or what we should do right now? Crypto Sage, everybody's situation is different. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's outlooks are different. Everybody's risk allocation is different. Everybody suffers drawdown differently. I need to know more context in order to be able to resonate with you or to empathize with how you're feeling or what you're looking at. Because for me, I look at this and I go, it's probably fine. We're probably getting psyoped, you know, and then someone will tell me, yeah, but look at this, right? And then I'll tell them, okay, well, your sentiment towards the market right now is probably a lot more pessimistic than mine, but our bag selections are also different. You get what I'm trying to say? Not Bitcoin, it's alts that are 80, 90% down. Then again, you may as well just leave the stream because never have I once, ever, you know, like you're just talking to the wrong person. If you're going to talk to me about alts being 80, 90% down, it's just I have three alt bags, and I've specified with paragraphs, literal paragraphs, deciphering every outcome and every way I expect it to go. And it's just like, if that's not enough, nothing's enough, right? You know, but I get it. The global sentiment, it's just sad. It's just sad how I see 54% Bitcoin dominance, 54%, which means more than half of this market's entire market cap is stuck in BDC, but somehow every single person I speak to, every retail person I speak to is somehow stuck in these things. If that is not the most fearing thing to you guys ever, that somehow majority of the money is stuck in BDC, but you and 99% of other people are somehow tricked into these things, that should fear you. That should scare you because who owns this? And why do they own this? And why are you not in it as well? Like I hope by now in the cycle you could see what is happening here. Like, I hope by now you could see the funding that goes into influencers and paid shills and all this. Who's funding them? And why is something else being bought and held up at more than half its market cap? I'm not going to go into this. I think some alts will do very well. I am not here to fudge you out of bags. I'm just asking you to be realistic. How many people do I speak to that go, "Oh, I know I bought alts, but I'm just here for the ride and I don't actually believe in it and I'm just here to trade it." Yet you're holding it 90% down. Kind of contradiction. Like again, I want to talk less about trading today. I just want to talk more about like how people think because what they do and what they say are two different things. And I see it all the time. I see it all the time. We're all victim to this. I've been a beginner trader when I first started too. I know exactly what it is to tell yourself one thing, yet cope by literally doing a physical action that does the other. Oh, I'm not attached to the but I'm down 90%. There's a rude awakening for you there. You're gonna need to understand that. You know? So it's like you either believe in these things, right? And I'm not here to fudge you out. I'm not here to doom as everything's down. I'm not that type of person. I just need you to understand the metrics. How is it that everybody you speak to says the global sentiment is down 90% on alts and this and that, but then you have literally more than half, and I mean literally more than half the market cap stuck in one pairing that they tell you and constantly remind you can't make money with, that they tell you is not a good look for your portfolio. Do you guys see this, or is it just me? And I'm not gonna talk till I see acknowledgement in the chat. Like I need to see that I'm not alone on this. Like for sure. Like you've been told time and time again, there's large interest, big entities, millions of dollars. The big money is pledging to buy whatever is being sold here. Big money. Do you see that happening for certain alts? Do you see that happening? I don't. I don't. I've never seen one serious individual take these things seriously. And I'm not here, guys. Again, you can play alts. I want you to play alts. I want you to have fun with them. I want you to trade them because they're some of the best things to trade. But I don't want you to fall victim into the community member cycle. Because what happens is you get stuck into a project while other things move. And had you just stuck to your trading, you'd be able to catch these movers. But since you buy into something with a belief system, it makes it that much more difficult to accept the loss and move on. Now, again, I still think, and I don't want to mix out my words. I don't want my sentiment to go all over the place. I do believe, and I do believe this, that you are going to have an ETH rotation. It's only natural that money, as it becomes, as money speculates more into BTC, it's going to be more and more likely that these will trickle out into other performing pairings. But at the same time, if you're expecting an ETH rotation, you need to be expecting the drawdown that comes with it. And unfortunately, some of you will not do this. You'll expect something to go up immediately because you bought it. But with the second you have drawdown, you don't believe in it at all. So there needs to be a belief system here in the sense that there needs to be something where you draw the line and there needs to be something that goes, this is okay because I've expected this to go up and down. I have an overall goal of where I think this will be at the end of 3 to 6 months, and everything in between is none of my concern. Right? That there are two ways to go about this. You know, when I have a long-term speculation, right? When I have long-term bags and they're not doing so well, this is what my intraday strategy is for. They're two completely divided portfolios. One focuses on data specifically related to intraday. So I'm catching moves every day. Maybe not every day, because sometimes conditions don't apply to me. But I make sure that there's always an operation available to me that can extract on the intraday. For my long-term bags, knowing that some days markets will be down 10%, some days markets will be up 30%. I'm going to make an emotional decision in between all this if I'm looking at it every day and I'm trying to time every movement of it every day. That's what the intraday strategy is for. That's what my long-term growth portfolio is for. That's what my long-term speculations are for. If I start to trade with my long-term speculations, I start to make mistakes. Keep this in mind. Tobacco, man, tobacco. That ticker over there, bro. That ticker over there. Hold on, I'm gonna read the comments above. I don't mean to go on rants or monologues. I just I think during a day like today is a day where you're actually gonna see things for what they are. Again, you've had it so easy. I mean this. I genuinely mean this. Don't let me pull up the May 2021 charts. Do not let me pull up my face on May 2021. I streamed in front of 1,000 people when shit was 70% down. There is nothing that will get to me. There is nothing anybody can say that will trigger me or bother me anymore. I sat here with thousands, like 1,000 people on Twitch watching our bags literally drop 70 to 80% in an hour. There is nothing anybody can convince me that this is anywhere near as worse as that. I sat through it all. You were speaking to a veteran. The only thing I've actually missed is Mount Gox. I wasn't here for Mount Gox, but I was here for every other catastrophe. And I'm here to tell you right now, you've never had it this easy. You've never had this much attention and eyes on BDC on a world stage like you've had before. So with that being said, with it comes its pitfalls. With it comes its drawdowns like any market. The only thing that sucks is how equities are going up and we're kind of just fucking chilling, right? So we'll get to that in a second. Crypto Sage. So here's the thing. I used to have a 10K portfolio some months ago. Now I'm at 5K and I'm 18. So I've not been around crypto market for very long. So I can't understand how to approach for the future and what to do next, where to invest and what to buy. And I've never faced this market in this much drop. I'm so confused on what next. Crypto Sage, you're a little baby, my friend. You're 18 years old. If I got into finances at that age, I think I'd own the world by now. I mean that you're young. The fact that you have 10K sitting around so idly is impressive to me. 10K at 18 years old. At 18 years old, I had a little negative sign in front of any dollars I had. Right. So you're in a phenomenal position. I don't think. I don't think you're in a position as bad as you make it sound. I think you're in a rather fortunate position. You paid 5K. You learned your tuition. I've lost money in the past that I would assume would have broken me at that time. But the way I see it is when you first get introduced to a market, it's very much like a tuition you pay. You learn those mistakes. Some of them learning with 50K. Some of them learning with 100K. It's all what money means to you, right? It's all what money means to you. And losing a significant amount is going to teach you the same lesson. I think you're in a really good position. Again, 18, 5 to 10K portfolio. You're chilling. You're chilling. The mistakes you made, all you have to do is learn from them. How do you learn from them? You write it down. Every time you make a mistake, you write it down. Every time you make a success, you write it down. That's the only way you're going to get better. Our brains play tricks on us, right? When markets are moving and prices are flip flopping and money's going up, money's going down, emotions are out of control. So how do we remember how we felt? How do we remember what actions we took? Our brains are going to play tricks on us because it wants us to do something that we feel is right instead of doing something that the system tells us. So my best advice to you, and I don't like to use that word advice, but my best suggestion, the thing that changed everything for me during that phase in the market, that phase of my trading career was I started to take things seriously. Everything I did, I made sure I documented it. I wrote it down. I took it seriously. I took it seriously like I was in school. I took it seriously like I was in a career because that's what it is. You're trying to make a career out of this. You're trying to make a living out of this. So you may as well take it seriously. How do you know what to do next? That's going to come with experience. That's going to come with trying things. That's going to come with, you know, learning your tolerance and where things are wrong and where things are right and where you draw the line in the sand. You can only do that when you've created a system for yourself or you followed a system that is mathematically backed, right? The only way you do this is by aggregate of data. How do you get an aggregate of data? You apply. You apply said system, right? Said system returns you with results. That could be a loss or a win. Either way, you jot it down. Over a series of 10 to 15, 20, 30 trades, you're going to start to see a pattern. You're going to start to see where you're going wrong, which setups are always taken on the wrong premise, which setups seem to always work out in their favor, and you're going to start to create an edge this way. But if you're going to try to be like I don't know, some guy that tries to put everything in the back of their head, I'm telling you right now, you're going to forget the past 5 trades you took all week. Or, wow, how did I really take that one? Was it because of this or was it because of that? I'm pretty sure it was because of this. This is because your brain is telling you it needs to take a trade, right? So just keep this in mind. Ragnaros, I'm sorry, I'm really behind here. I see what you're saying, Rego. That works well for people with large portfolios, but people with smaller ports want alts because higher percentages. How could someone with 10K make a ton with BDC? I guess that's my counter argument, if that makes sense, not negating what you say. Ragnaros, I'm glad you brought up that question because I want to tell you right now, I started with less than you. Started with less than 10K. I think you're privileged that you have 10K. I come from the hard knocks. I come from the 2016, 2017 era where everything was a scam. Everything was up in smoke. Nothing was guaranteed like it is today. Not a single thing. There's no excuse. Compounding makes winners in this market. Small wins add up. The risk management becomes more or less the same, but the numbers become bigger. The problem is people are impatient. That's the issue. They're impatient, they're greedy, and they're entitled, and they feel like things are owed to them. That's a huge issue because I felt the same way in the beginning. I felt like something needed to happen today, tomorrow, because I'm taking it seriously now. So that means has to happen to me. It has to happen to me because I'm here right now in the moment. It's a main character syndrome that doesn't work out. I had to learn the hard way, like everybody else, that compounding, yeah, over the first 2 to 3 months, it doesn't feel like much. But 6 to 7 months down the line, you're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. All of a sudden, those 2% wins for $40, all of a sudden are looking like $120 a win. And you just realize now it's the eureka moment. It's the connecting of the glue. You realize if you continue to keep it this way, the risk is always the same. The emotions are managed always the same way because you're growing with the portfolio. You're not managing money you can't afford to handle. You can't emotionally stomach. It's extremely important you understand this. It is a long game here. John says it all the time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Do you think he's joking? This is the thing, right? A lot of you guys on a day like today will take me very, very seriously. And you're going to take it seriously. You're going to see results. You're going to start to compound. You're going to start to take things slowly. You're going to start to manage your risk. You're going to see it's going to work. And then there's going to be a candle. There's going to be a 20% candle to the upside. You're going to say, fuck, I should have never closed. Then you're going to take another trade. And you're going to say, fuck, I should have never closed because it's rallying again. Then you're going to take all my things that I taught you that was keeping you sane and normal. And you're going to throw it out the window because fuck it, the market's going up. And then all that progress, all that hard work of 3, 4 weeks that you did listening to a system and watching a portfolio grow honestly and respectively, watch it just get all lost in a single half a day. Because that's what trading is. That's what this market is. They fool you. They fool you into thinking my brain is better than my system. I hope you guys understand this. I've been here for too long for anybody to argue with me. It's just I've seen it. I've seen it too many times. I've seen it happen to the best traders. I've seen it happen to the worst traders. I've seen it happen to myself. I've seen it happen to myself. You're preaching to the choir here. I used to go, damn, when I take a trading system seriously, look what happens. And then a market starts going 30, 40%, 30, 40%. And all of a sudden you start going, man, you start looking at the ring like you're Bilbo Baggins. You go, why should I manage my trades? Why should I? You start pulling a Bilbo. You start looking at the ring. And you start going, why should I take profit here? You know, like you start going crazy. You start getting possessed by madness. That's exactly what a market is designed to do. When you finally start to take it seriously, it starts to go, well, I guess we could send it up 20, 30% a day. It's how you manage those emotions when the market is going down 20, 30% a day. Same way when it's going 20, 30% up in the day. What's important is that you're protecting your drawdowns. You're protecting your expectations. And most importantly, you're growing regardless of market environment. So I hope you guys understand this. I don't want to go too long on the whole aspect of that, but I think you guys need to hear it. Elise, I appreciate that. I'm gonna get back to some of these things. I'm sorry, I'm way behind. We're getting a lot of good questions here, and again, today's less of a day where you want to look at the charts. Today's a day you want to, kind of reflect on what could I have done differently. Why do I feel like in the position I'm in, and what can be done better about this? Because I can't save people that are 90%, 80% down. All I can do is hope they learn from a mistake. Do you think it's time to buy BTC, ETH, and SOL and wait for BTC to go to all-time high to turn to altcoins? Brilton, I'll be completely honest with you. From when it comes to BTC allocations, I have an allocation in the 64,000 to 60,000 area as the range low. Maybe I'm a bit stubborn in holding it, but I'll decide at the end of the day what I feel. At the end of the day, when I made this original plan to buy 64 to 60K, I also made the plan to buy 50 to 53,000 because I'm in it for a long-term haul, right? Whenever I'm expecting corrective territory for BTC, I'm always expecting a 30% drawdown. So my 30% drawdown is always at 50 to 53. However, given the nature of how busy and how aggressive the uptrend was for the past year and a half, I also decided we're going to allocate at 60 to 64. So this is currently underwater. I have a spot allocation at 60 to 64 that's currently underwater, and I'm going to average it down to 50 to 53 because truly I believe on a long enough time frame, this area is considered undervalued. right? When it comes to Solana, I'll cover my Solana chart because again, I had an idea and we're waiting for this to play out. Again, there's two things I expected to happen here, and scenario one did. Now, maybe in hindsight, it's a bit foolish to have not secured my profits here, but at the same time, we're still trading in an area of demand that I made a spot allocation to, right? And you guys can check this in my corner. We decided to buy an average between 134 to 125, right? So this area is still being traded on and tested, and it's something it's something in our expectations. It's nothing, if there's a place to buy, if you're an aggressive bull, the 200 daily EMA that has not been touched since October of 2023. If there's going to be a response, it's going to be from here, and if there's not, of another level, 105 to 98. Now, this I would see is more greedier or patient approach. If you feel like that is the level for you, you do that. I've taken the level between 133, I'm sorry, 134 to 125. And then for Ethereum. Now Ethereum, it's the only bag I don't actually have an allocation on. So speaking from this point on is with no skin in the game, no allocation in the game, just my thoughts. Ethereum is at a level where you would expect it to bounce. This is more towards 2908 to 3036. 200 EMA, once again, not touched since October of 2023. Every pairing is on its very, very important level. If we're going to expect a bounce, it's got to be from here. Okay, so I'm glad I'm glad I covered that. I invested 2K in BTC on Mount Gox. I learned patience. Dan Ramon, you're older than I am, my friend. Check FET. Okay, we'll do the charts in just a bit there. I just want to make sure that I covered all the questions regarding like how people are feeling right now. Because it's tough. It's tough. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's not. I know it's tougher. The reason why it's tougher is because of how long we just did nothing, and now to see the move to the downside, I think it's really discouraging a lot of people. Dan, am I a kid? I turned 30 and yeah, I turned 30 in like 3 weeks. Not even less than 3 weeks. I'm gonna enjoy my 20s. One last dance. This is one last dance. 42. Jesus Christ. No wonder you got Mount Gox. If I was a bit older, I'm pretty sure I would have stumbled on it too. Um, all right. I asked $500 from my father like 2 years ago and turned that money into 10K with NFTs and DAO and that degen shit that was hot 2 years ago. And now all these things are not making money anymore. I had to start trading and I want to do futures and other types of trading and buying altcoins and stuff and lost half my portfolio and things that hurt. And then now I think of either take out that money and maybe do something with it, or maybe invest and get somewhere. Crypto Sage. You're one of the stories that remind me of when I participated in my first cycle in 2017. I played on some alts. I made some money on LTC. I made some money on XRP, XVG. I had made a shit ton of money. But I'll tell you what happened shortly after. I learned the whole bearish market, the whole bearish cycle. I paid a lot of tuition and I gave a lot of that back. I gave a lot of it back because I didn't understand. There were a lot of things I didn't understand about the cycle that follows it, right? The fact that you made 10K with $500 is impressive. First and foremost, I would have paid back my father just to clear the air. What's mine is mine now. Second of all, I don't think there's anything wrong with you trying and putting ideas forward and learning. You know, I really don't think there's anything wrong with that. Oh, but you answered more over here. I can't understand how to approach for the future as I never saw these trends and market conditions. I want to learn from the best. That's why I came here. What do you suggest as experienced person in the sector should I do? Or maybe what type of trading I should try to like? Are there different types of things like swing and all of that? Blah, 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 blah. All right. First and foremost, I need to know how much time do you actually have? You can't be in front of screens all day. Maybe intraday trading is not for you. Maybe futures data is not for you. If you do have the time for it, then maybe try to take it more seriously. But I'm going to assume as an 18-year-old, you don't have much time. You probably have a job and you probably have school to go to and friends to see. I don't think intraday futures trading will be for you. I think that's where a lot of people make mistakes. You have a pretty decent amount of capital to do some serious damage with long-term views, right? I think you should stay patient. I think you should allocate into things that are truly strong and with 10K you can do a lot of damage. You have all the time in the world. That's kind of dangerous. That's kind of dangerous. You're gonna want to fill your time up with some stuff because that's how we're gonna make mistakes in trading, right? The last thing you want to do is learn how to trade with large sums of money, right? Much time is going to lead to boredom, and if you don't have the emotion, like if you don't have the experience to know when you have to sit on your hands and when you don't, you're going to chop yourself up to 1,000 pieces. Very, very dangerous. That's why I say that. What's wrong with 50s? I see that number two. Osteo, man. I didn't know we had guys in the 40s and 50s in here. That's nuts. And yeah, Hugo, the idea, like the audience that wants to make money will be anywhere from, I want to say, I hope 18 years old till about whatever number we can get to. It's just because it's something that everybody wishes they could do more of, right? The problem is because it attracts such a large age group, the expectations are out of whack, right? Damn. Okay, I'm speaking to some older people, man. Some of you guys have almost lived my life twice. It's crazy. And no, I know better. Crypto AI, I know better than to teach old dogs new tricks. But when it does come to my realm, which is trading, I'm pretty sure it's more easily adopted by the older guys in here. They can actually understand what I'm trying to say. In some way, shape, or form, their industry or career has taught them more or less the same lessons, right? It's just trading is an accelerant to learning hard lessons at a very young age, and that's where most people lose their minds, right? You need to have experience in management. You need to be able to deal with emotions, right? And I assume people in their 40s and 50s deal with kids that pull emotional tantrums, right? So they're kind of used to dealing with that more or less. One of the same, a level of maturity you kind of just. Oh, my mic cut off there. Crypto Sage, if you can allocate 6 to 8 hours a day to crypto, I mean this sincerely. I think the best thing for you, and I mean this, you know, is to dedicate a bit of time into learning the industry itself and not just the future side of things. Because if you know your industry, you know exactly what you're looking for. The futures are just going to add on to that. I would try to diversify your time into understanding the space as a whole, what's exciting, what's new, what it's looking for, and that will magnify your trading. Like it will absolutely magnify your trading if you know exactly what you're looking for, if you know exactly what your narrative is, right? When you have that much time, I think you should dedicate a bit to the industry itself. What's up, Hermes? Never too late. I mean, we're gonna end this off soon. I think we got a lot off our chest. It's a lot to talk about today. Thankfully, the market has respected us to not just completely torpedo down while I'm in the middle of my conversation. But are we targeting 52K to 53? There's a lot to decipher today. We're looking at this last line in the sand here. If we were to lose this, and yes, 50 to 53K is most definitely on the board. Any resources I have on learning narrative? Uh, I have a lot of learning resources, but crypto specifically, it has to come from a fascination with the industry itself. I mean, if you're not particularly fascinated by the future of money and the future of data and how it's going to be handled, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to want to learn it, right? As far as like content on learning yourself and how to handle situations and how to handle trading, I have quite a bit. No, not just lurking on X, finding very, very decent articles. There was a couple. It all depends on what it is you want to learn more about. For me, I was fascinated by decentralized currency and what BDC meant. Because the second I heard about it, I was like, oh, this changes everything. Like my exact words are like, oh, this changes the world. Like it inevitably changes the world. There's nothing anybody can do about that. And that like piqued my fascination. So I know other people have other protocols in layer ones, layer twos, layer fucking 69, whatever you want to call it. I know a lot of people have fascinations with this, and that should just kind of like trickle in. But if your fascination is the sole purpose of making money, it's like you're going against people that are really, really passionate in this space, and they will beat your ass because they just know so much more. What are narratives you think are going to pump in the future, and where should we invest our money? Like you see, like these are questions I don't like to tiptoe on. The narratives are right that you have quite literally a nation undergoing a presidential election, which has allowed the floodgates and avenues for ETFs of two of the most major pairings available to us, who has pretty much supported and emphasized moving forward how important it will be taken and how seriously it will be taken in his administration. Um, we have a presidential candidate that is more economically in tune, I want to say. And again, I know we're talking about one nation here, but it is the nation where the whole world watches, and it's super super important, right? So a 4-year administration coming into office that is not only pro crypto at this point, but also pro economy, I think is a major benefit. And I think markets, if we look at TradFi, is in the process of pricing this in. I mean, you just need to look around. The market is in the process of pricing in a bullish Trump presidency. You also have a Ethereum spot ETF launch. You already have a spot ETF on BTC going live. These inflows will increase, they will not decrease. Over enough time, these will increase. You just had a having the mine supplies cut in half from that point on over the next 4 years. So whatever daily mine supply is being sent out is much less than what it was just 3-4 months ago. There are so many things that you could look forward to. And just because some nation or some entity is coming in and shoving as much as they can at a range low does not mean that takes away from these narratives. It should tell you the opposite. That being said, you have a number of things to look forward to after the summer, and that should be what you're focused on. Any advice for being patient and how to handle emotions? Keep yourself occupied, set yourself clear rules. In this case, if I have a range, well, I'm not taking a long up here and I'm not taking a short down here, right? So therefore, in between, there's realistically nothing for me to do until there's action to be taken on either side. You got to set yourself rules. How do you set yourself rules? You find yourself a system. How do you find yourself a system? You either make one yourself or you learn it from someone else. There are tons of systems around. It's going to be the one that resonates with you most. It's all math. It comes down to the same thing: risk allocation, how much you're willing to walk away with. The only thing that changes are the triggers for taking these ideas. The only way you stay patient and the only way you handle your emotions is when you're not oversized. You've accepted a loss before it even happened. You've accepted a profit before it even happened. And you remove your emotions and decision making out of the trade because everything's already predetermined. What system you guys follow? I follow my own, and I follow a supply and demand for the daily time frames and swing plays. 20, I'm 23 in crypto since 2020. I've lost a lot of money, multiple 5 figures, but I've learned so much valuable things, especially since I came in last September. Now I am 6 figures after all this blood, and I have not sold the coin in my long-term portfolio because I have conviction in the project I hold. My goal for this bull run is to make enough to invest fully, live passively off 5% APY from the stored money, aka 1 million 5%. And I'm sure that we'll succeed in the end. We're in the best group ever for crypto. I appreciate those words. I really do, and I'm glad you came out as a success. Again, it's what I see in this group is the ones that are here for 1 to 3 months. You came in for the wrong idea, and you'll be gone shortly. We expect this. We know it. It's the ones that stick around, that have been around for 9 to 12 months, that understand that, hey, because this group is not calling shorts, does not mean they're a bad group. If I didn't know, or if I didn't have access to this group, I would have never known that was coming in the first place, right? And then a lot of people will say, well, thank you, because I would have made a stupid decision if I wasn't listening to this group, right? But everybody has different experiences. Everybody takes trades differently. Everybody sees this information differently. A lot of these people just come into this group, go straight to the call channel, don't take any context to what we're saying, think it's owed to them, entitled for them, and they get rinsed the fuck out every time. And cannot teach that. You cannot teach people how to change their habits. When should we take profit? Again, it's going to come down to your system. It's going to come down to your system. Usually, there's mathematical indications to why you're taking profit at a level. Usually, there's stuff that you could look at on order books. But again, nothing's always guaranteed. This is why you got to be okay with setting yourself a take profit limit and a stop loss limit, because by those parameters, your idea is either worked out or it has failed. And there's no in between management, right? So in order to come to that conclusion, you got to look at a number of things. But this again, if you're only 3-4 months into trading, maybe a year into trading, this is gonna hurt your head. This is gonna hurt your head. These are more advanced dynamics. They're more sophisticated instruments. We should be focused on just understanding spot plays before we try to understand the nitpicks of developing an edge on futures. Again, I'll give it to you guys honest. I'm not here to sell you guys dreams. I'm here to tell you it's hard. It's hard. It takes a lot of time to be able to put pieces together. But what's important is that you're trying. What's important is that you're applying. What's important is that you're learning. If you're not learning from mistakes, you're just doomed from the start. You're going to make a mistake eventually. Osteo, I got your message. I'll reply to you once I'm done the stream, which will be done soon. I think we've gotten enough covered. I want to assume, we're going to hold this low. We hold this low and then we'll forget about all this conversation, right, guys? Everybody's going to take if we go back into this box, everybody's just going to take what I said. They're going to call me some fucking old sage that's past his time. They're going to call me 38-year-old Ronaldo, and they're going to forget everything I just said in this. But that's it. Any news sites you follow for world news which has impact on crypto? There are a number of accounts. Living off the grid. If you really want to have like a live news feed, go to Teal Street, right? Teal Street is a terminal, and they have like a live Twitter feed. So the team at Teal Street has signaled pretty much live news accounts that tweet crypto related, TradFi related stuff, and it pretty much just comes down on a feed, right? I would suggest you do that. Other than that, I usually follow like the typical things like Tier 10K, Tree Alpha, Spectator Index, Breaking Report, Reuters, just for mainstream mumbo jumbo. Just a bunch of stuff that can give you economic data. There's usually like 2 or 3 accounts that will give you like Bloomberg, almost Bloomberg terminal speed. I have different accounts for different purposes. I have a trading account. I got 1K in it. Should I trade futures options? Maybe you should do some different type of trading style. Can you also tell me what is the system? Like, can you give me an example of how a system looks like and how you make one? Crypto Sage, you have a lot of good questions, but it's all over the place. So first and foremost, stick to one portfolio. Stick to something that excuse me, stick to something that you could focus on and tune to get better instead of trying to do 50 things at once, right? Because I see it. I see the eagerness and I see the ambition. The problem is it's trying to do everything at once, and that's going to lead to blowing up, right? So how do you learn a system? How do you learn a style? You have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 to 13 traders in here that all trade a system. My suggestion is to follow 1 or 2, preferably 1. Consider all the other ones, but follow 1 and try to understand why they operate the way they do, why they take the plays the way they do, and their reasons and conditions for setting triggers or stop losses. No, Teal Street's not paid, or at least it shouldn't. I don't know what changed, but it shouldn't be paid. You have a ton of learning material in here, Crypto Sage, that will help you develop a system. You have a section called charts and ideas where people are constantly taking trades based on their own rules, on their own prerogative. And you can learn a lot from that. Asking questions is going to be your best teacher here. I think you should focus on one thing before you try to get good at 5 different things, right? How does the system look like? Well, I'll tell you very straightforward. My system on an M15 operates on a pivot M15 or a pivot 200 EMA strategy. So realistically, I have a pivot, I have a 200 EMA. This is usually used as my bias or mean of the day. So if I think price is below this, I expect downtrend. If I expect it's trading above, I expect an uptrend. So realistically, the way I operate is typically whenever we have an S3 level, we look to take this as a mean reversion into these 2 price points here. So our entry is usually here into this and this on a 50-50 split. In some cases, a 33-33, and then finally 33% split, because we would expect a rejection from this line here, right? So a day like today where we're trading out of the range and we're trading down and pretty much breaking down out of a range low, I don't usually look to take my S3. There's a condition where I don't take something when my overwhelming larger time frames are squashing my lower time frame setups. So one setup I typically used to take, right, especially when we're trading in a range or we're trading in an identifiable price zone. S3 is a mean reversion, once again, into S2, S1, and potentially sometimes the pivot, depending on the strength of the mean reversion. That's usually one setup I usually take in this system. The other one I would take is if price, for whatever reason, comes back, trades back above this pivot 200 EMA, and the 200 EMA supports the pivot, right? And gives me an excuse to be long. How it looks, we take a trigger into R1, R2, R3, 33%, 33%, 33%. And that is just a rough 1-2 buckle my shoe 45-second breakdown into how a system is. I pretty much only take 2 trades because it's very, very often and very, very common for my prices to be trading either at S3 or the pivot plus 200 EMA. So I either take a trade at S3 for a mean reversion because the response is usually strong. In this case, we're trading and breaking out of a range low. I see no reason to take a chance on the lower time frames because my larger time frame is taking priority here. But in a regular day, S3, if it's given fast enough, usually leads to a mean reversion. That's a nice scalp. And then there are other days where we pop above the 200 EMA, we hold above it, 200 EMA comes to support, and that's usually our trigger for taking a long into R1, R2, R3. So I have a system of rules, and I don't even begin to operate. I don't even begin to operate if I don't see these very, very basic signs, which is why it's so easy for me to just look at this chart today. Because I know there's nothing for me to operate on. It's either we're deviating, we're making it look the most disgusting we can ever make it look before deviating back up and getting caught off guard, right? Or I'm protecting myself from an actual fallout here. And that's the last thing I want to be stuck in, right? Is it a setting? It absolutely is a setting. Technical indication, or an indicator, I should say. Pivot point standard, set the Fibonacci's, auto adjustment, number of pivots back to 1. And every chart that you open will adjust itself based on the time frame you're looking at to a Fibonacci level of the highs and lows of the prices. So it's literally all math. You know, some things are going to work out, some things will not work out. As you can see, every recovery is immediately squashed by overwhelming sell pressure, like immediately squashed. We are dealing with a forced sell event. We are dealing with German selling literally at every turn they have. How low this goes, I don't know. I actually don't know. But I'm going to expect 50 to 53 at this point. The range breakdown is quite obvious. They're trying to really, really spook people out now, and that's it. They'll most likely get their wish. Because I'm convinced that if everybody's going to assume this is out, this capitulates into 50-53. Everybody's going to assume 30K is coming, and that's probably where we bounce from. But guys, I've been streaming for a good hour here. I hope I provided some insight to you guys. I didn't mean to get like nasty or mean. Just trying to be honest. Get a lot of criticism. I get criticism from a guy. His name was Mally earlier this morning. Told him show up in the stream, ask me all the questions you want. You think he's here right now? All he was there is to just whine and bitch about why no shorts were open. So again, like if this is the people I'm dealing with, I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to know them. Please unsubscribe. Like I really don't care. But yeah, the ones that are here and take what I'm saying. Trust me when I say it'll take you a long way. It really will. We've never had it really this easy. I can't stress it enough. Okay, so again, just try to hang in there. A range is a range until it's broken. Now that we're pretty much getting our broken range, although all hope is not lost yet. Again, like it's as unconvincing as it looks. Not all hope is lost. We are right there. So again, if it's a range breakdown, it's a range breakdown. You plan accordingly, you adjust accordingly. If you made a mistake, it's not over. It's only over when you guys admit it's over. It's only over when you guys have accepted it's over, right? Until then, live to fight another day. Stay hedged flat whenever you're approaching areas of danger. And again, it's less about knife catching in these environments. It's more about surviving. We'll have more than enough confirmation to know if something's been recovered. We'll have more than enough confirmation to know that something's been reclaimed. There's no need, right, to go both feet diving in. Okay? So sit tight, hold tight. If you're in something, now's not the time to make decisions. Okay? It's not. You got to sit and accept what you've taken in as an allocation. And if you make a decision during the turmoil, this is exactly falling into the hands of people, right? Today's Thursday. We got another stream tomorrow. I hope to see you guys there. Hopefully, we're not looking at a fucking battleground or war zone or anything like that of the sort tomorrow. But tomorrow we have a stream, 10 a.m., more or less the same time. I'll be with Pocky. Pocky is going to be probably a lot more versatile when it comes to both sides of the trade. So just keep that in mind. But guys, I want to thank you so much for joining in. Hopefully, you guys take a few deep breaths, chill out. It's a holiday session today, so we're pretty much being attacked, right? 10 a.m. same time zone, so 30 minutes before today, like 30 minutes earlier than today. But all right, guys, I'm signing off. Hang in there. Don't get emotional. Don't freak out. Just chill out, okay? We'll be good.